Hi everyone, I'm Martin and welcome to another great edition of MP Astro. Over a whole year I've been testing out this great product from Rother Valley Optics, which was the 72 ED Horizon Refractor. This is a very compact imaging telescope with superb optics, very high quality optical glass. And if you've not seen those videos, please check out the descriptions at the top. I've highlighted them in several parts. It's been quite a while since I've reviewed that product, but I have tested it out for an entire year, and I am very impressed on the performance of that telescope. Unfortunately, like always, I had to return it back because it was loaned to me. But it was a real shame to miss that telescope because I really like the optics on that telescope. Fantastic setup with its field flattener, you name it. I mean, perfect combination if you've got a half crop sensor camera, like a DSLR camera, like a Canon or a Nikon camera. Perfect combo setup for taking some wide field shots of deep sky objects. Really is an impressive telescope in its own right, and I've imaged with the moon and planet Mars. Unfortunately, I had to send it back. It's the way it is. However, Rother Valley Optics has sent me out another product. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to find out as I unbox it. So if you want to find out more, before we proceed, if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed onto my channel, please subscribe onto my channel. And again, please share this video out, because maybe this video might actually interest a few people. Particular Christmas is coming up. This might be an ideal opportunity for you guys and girls to have a look at this video, see what you think. And I've no idea what it is, this product they sent me, but I'm so excited with it, really am. But it may give you a good idea for an ideal Christmas present for a loved one, or in particular, your friend, whatever. And again, please hit the bell. It will notify you with any videos that will come out very, very soon. And believe me, I have loads of new projects, new product reviews, you name it. MP Astro is out there to deliver the goods once again. So please please hit that bell. So if you're interested, you want to find out more about this latest product they've sent me, please keep watching and let's do this. So then, guys and girls, let's do this. Now, as you can see, we've got a compact box, nothing too special. I've no idea what this is. It's well packaged. At the moment, that's all there is. So it looks like we've got a case, very compact case. It appears to be much smaller than the 72 ED Horizon case. And we'll take a closer look. It's got the two spare keys. It's aluminium construction, so it's quite a compact case. Okay, so we've got a series of stuff in there. So what we're going to do is going to take a closer look on the contents of this box. So we have the case, and as you can see, very compact case. But what I will do is I'm going to measure the case itself. So we're looking at round about 40, just, yeah, right, 40.5 centimeters. And 23.5 centimeters in width. And we're going to measure the height and about 17.5 centimeters in height. So very compact box. So straight away, very pleasing. However, looking at the box, it's not. It looks very similar to the Rother Valley Optics 72 ED Horizon, but I don't know what's inside that box, so I have no idea what it is that's inside there. So we're going to take a closer look. You get 2 spare lockable keys, and there we go. What we've got here, I wonder. So what we've got appears to be, oh wow, oh this is impressive. Now I've looked into this. This is the Rother Valley Optics 60 Horizon ED, and I have looked at it, but from the look of it, oh wow, what we've got here is a Zygo test certificate. Like always, it was exactly the same as the Rother Valley Optics 72 ED, and there's some very interesting figures here. So this is really impressive stuff. So I do want to mention one thing about this Zygo testing. Now, Rother Valley Optics are the first company in the UK that do Zygo testing now. Now, they've got a Zygo interferometer which is installed and it's ready for use now. They now test refractors, particularly all the refractor lenses, all refractor telescopes. And what they do is they do provide a 2-page report now with any telescope which is tested by Rother Valley Optics. They're now certified, which is great news. They are now a fully qualified Zygo testing facility. They spent quite a few months to almost a year to get this right, so they've put in a lot of hard work to get this facility running. A good astro telescope are optically tested through series of through this machine. I'm not going to go too much in depth, but there's one is the Streshel. It's the Streshel ratio. Now the Streshel ratio is how well or how accurate the quality of the optical glass. It also shows not just the quality of the glass, but it also shows how well collimated it is. Yeah, it goes through series of stringent tests this machine does. And the one thing I do need to highlight with this Zygo testing is with this Streshel rating you need to figure out is that the height, the closer you can get. Now, to what I've heard from Rother Valley Optics, what they on all their Rother Valley Optics products, particularly the refractor range, especially the Horizon range, they set a standard of round about 0.95 Streshel ratio. Any telescope varies, depends on how well the lenses are grinded or polished, how well the coatings are. It goes through a lot of stringent tests. Now, they've been authorized, and from the look of this test for this refractor, again, like most of the Rother Valley Optics products you get, these are serialized. So this certificate is serialized, or should be serialized, to this telescope. They've tested this out and you should get this 2-page report. Please remember that every refractor is different, but what Rother Valley Optics are focused on the Rising series, is they want a bare minimum of 0.95 threshold ratio. That is a very high standard as it is. We're coming close to like Takahashi style level of quality telescopes. This is how good these, how fine these optics are. And I can't stress this enough. When you're paying for products, particularly of this brand, now with Rother Valley Optics being able to test this out, they can test out on the variety of equipment now. So if you've got a refractor, they'll be able to test your telescope out. All you got to do is contact them, tell them your specifications of your telescope if you can. You just send your telescope to them and they'll test it out. They won't just test it out through the Zygo tester, they also will collimate your refractor, because refractors do require precise collimation. So they will collimate each of the lens elements accordingly, and they will even optically clean the telescope. All right, they'll professionally clean it. All right, so there's a lot of work involved. Please contact them to quote the cost. All right, because it really does depend on several factors. You know, what brand telescope you have, what type of refractor you have. So you have either a doublet or a triplet or even a quadruplet. All right, there are several factors, so varies prices. But I believe we're talking for a standard package. You know, you got to phone them up to find out how much it's going to cost. It is available on the website, so please check out the website below. All right, and they will do a Zygo test on refractors. They are going to progress onto Maxitov and Schmidt Cassegrains, and they can also test out Newtonian reflectors as well, but they're not at that stage just yet. But this will become available. Rother Valley Optics are the only Zygo tester facility in the UK. So again, there's no need to send your high-end, high-grade telescopes. Right? You can have a Takahashi, you name it. If you've got those style of telescopes or high-grade telescopes like that, and you've got problems with collimation, or you feel that the optic quality for some sort of reason doesn't seem to be performing well, send them back to Rother Valley Optics and they'll sort you out. And you'll get these 2 printed reports. All right, and I must say there is a lot of information what they go through. Don't ask me what these values mean, but if we take a closer look, as you can see here, the main one I'll be focused on is the threshold ratio. So as you can see there, threshold ratio 0.982. Seriously? 0.982? That's almost coming up to 0.99 threshold ratio. If you're getting figures that close, 0.98, that is like really good. I mean, in fact, not just good, that is actually damn good. Now, don't quote me on this, guys and girls. This figure varies, but when you buy any Rother Valley Optics Horizon telescope from them, they set a minimum standard of 0.95. Again, 0.95 threshold ratio is not to be sniffed at, right? That is the bare minimum standard they will feature. But 0.95 threshold ratio is very, very good indeed. In fact, it's almost perfect optics. We're talking very high grade optics, and I'm not joking. With this telescope reaching at 0.98, we're looking at figures very, very close to the Takahashi range telescopes. Now those kind of telescopes are Japanese made, handcrafted refractors. These imaging refractors are very well made with such precision. We're coming close, 0.98, that is literally Takahashi style optics straight away there. All right, there's loads of stuff, so it tells you the curvature, how well it bends the light. Okay, there's loads of information there. So what I'll do is I'll show you in closer detail, much better than the camera. So as you can see from the close-up I've just shown you, very impressive stuff. 0.98 stress ratio, that is damn good. I'm getting really excited on this telescope already. Now as you can see here, we've got an easy to use guide. So as we look on this easy guide, there don't seem to be a lot of information there, but it seems that they have taken my advice on board on my last videos regarding on the 72 ED. So it looks like there's no tools needed, which is a big bonus, particularly from fitting a focal reducer or field flattener. But it looks like a field flattener from this at this end, but it looks to me that they focused on the field flattener without using any of the tools. So that's a big bonus, that they have changed the 72 ED slightly, so there'll be no tools required for that particular model. So they have done some major changes, which I'm so glad, and it seems like they've really upped the game. This is the reason why I do these videos, guys and girls, is I do pick out faults in equipment, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but I always pick out things that need to be improved, and a good retailer will listen to that advice. All right, if they didn't listen to that advice, all right, they will never improve on the products. All right, and this is the reason why these videos help so many retailers and you guys and girls that watch these videos. I know my videos are very long, don't get me wrong, but I do offer constructive advice to everyone. So we're going to take a closer look in the package, and as you can see, where do we start? We'll start off on this end. So, oh, this is nice. So we've got a 32mm Guidescope. As you can see here, we've got some nice CNC aluminium screws and rings on a very robust, and I must say, we've got a very robust finder scope Vixen dovetail. Oh man, this is good. This is really good. Finally, they've put in it looks like a free screwed with a nailed clamping system inside, and they've put a T2 thread on there as well. This is a massive improvement over the 72 ED with that guide scope. Here they've really looked into that and they've improved on that design. Wow, it looks like it's got a focuser as well, a focuser tube, so you can focus that end, and it's got a good dust, it's obviously got a good dust cap, and oh wow, we've got a very deep dew shield there, very deep. In fact, it's that deep, it's a good 50mm down. So you can hardly see the optics there, but you can just see it's very deep in there. So that is a bit of a plus side. So I do like the design already on this Guidescope. Oh, I'm really impressed with it so far. Look at that. That's a really nice compact design. Very impressed. I like that. Really like that indeed. What we've got here is, oh yes, still we've got a field flattener, 1x field flattener, and oh yeah, I'm really liking that. That's it's got a cap here, a screw-on cap, which is good. Looks like an M48 thread. Now the field flattener is very good for flattening the field, and what this field flattener does, very crucial for if you're using big sensors like a DSLR camera or a big astro camera, a CMOS camera or CCD. They have big sensors, and with this field flattener, it's very crucial for any refractor. Without a field flattener, what will happen is that if you're using big sensors, you'll get field curvature across the field of view of the camera. So if you're taking wide field view shots, your stars will have a slight curvature at the edges, and that's what the field flattener does. It will help to eliminate all those curvature, stopping those stars being slightly curved at the edges, and you'll get a nice flat field across. All the stars will be sharp and pinpointed, and this device is very crucial. Every telescope, every refractor, imaging refractor, a field flattener is a must-have, and I'm glad that they include this as a package. It obviously seems like they've thrown in the field flattener. Bit disappointed that there could be a cap. I don't know if they forgot about it. I have no idea, but there should have been like a screw-on cap here to protect the optics. But I'm guessing that once it's fitted to the telescope, there's no need to do much with this. But I'm not going to go too deep on the field flattener. What else we got in the box? Oh wow! They've what they seem to have done is they've installed an M48 to M42 adapter. That is nice. Looks like they've installed an M48 spacer. I don't know why that is, but this is really good, because on the last design, particularly on the 72ED model, the field flattener in particular, you had to attach an M48 thread or a T2 thread, and that's the problem with the field flattener, right? On this one, is you have to adapt that special adapter on there. All right, I'm glad they actually installed a T2 thread on there, so that's really good for a lot of the CCD cameras, because a lot of the CCD cameras needed a T2 thread. So I'm glad they installed that. That's a nice feature. I don't know why they installed that spacer, but there must be a good reason behind it. So yeah, there's some nice little features there. And then last but all, we've got the telescope itself, and again, the well packaged, and I must say, Let's have a look. Oh wow, look at this. Oh wow, look at this. This is impressive. Look, first impressions with the box. They've got obviously they've got Guidescope, they've got the telescope in there, which is a lot better than 72, which is good to see. There's still a lot of disassembly, which I've noticed as well. So I would like to have seen that the telescope package with the Guidescope and the telescope should be like together, but I'm afraid that will make the box a little bit bigger, I'm afraid. So if you had additional, if you wanted a one-off sort of assembly, so you might have to do a bit of disassembly, but there's not much to it. But so far, it's not a bad layout. Really is not a bad layout we've got here. So it's a massive improvement over the 72. I would like to have seen the box to have the nice logo. Now I don't know if this is a prototype case, but on the 72ED Horizon, the Horizon had the nice Horizon logo there, the Rother Valley Optics Horizon logo, which is really nice to see. All right, so straight away the box should be a little bit better, should be similar to the 72ED. Now as we can see here with the 60mm, we've got a very nice compact setup there. It's very light as well. So as you can see, we've got a very lightweight construction. Now in the specifications stated, I've looked at the Rother Valley Optics on the 60mm ED, and it has, apparently it's around about 1.78 kilogram. That is really impressive stuff. So 1.78 kilogram. Now the optics itself, the main flagship of the Rother Valley Optics, as you can see here, we've got a very fine, very high quality FPL 53 doublet glass. And again, this glass is collimated, it's highly polished, it's got very unique coatings on there. As you can see there, that 0.98 stressel is not to be sniffed at, and look at the quality on that. That is gleaming. Look at it. I've never seen optics like that. That's really super sharp. Now I have compared it to my telescope service 150mm triplet. All right, that triplet is a very high grade telescope as well, but comparing with this is like wow. And this FPL 53 doublet with its fantastic coatings, it's got a focal ratio of around 360mm. So we've got ultra fast f6 ratio optics, and really is impressive stuff. We've got a CNC'd machined rack and pinion focuser. So as you can see there, look at that. That is just silky smooth. All right, I'm using my bad hand, and even with my bad hand, my injured hand, I've got a lot of travel. So this CNC machined focuser, oh wow, there's a lot of extension here. In fact, it's a good 90 centimeters of extension. Could possibly reach 4" probably, I don't know, but with the 2" draw tube there, that's really is impressive already. So there's a lot of focus travel. I don't think you'll need this kind of travel, but it seems to work very well with the if you've got using eyepieces or something like that. So this is really nice to see. Now on the last model there wasn't much focus travel, but on this variant there seems to be a lot of travel. Again, you've got collimated screws, so obviously the focuser is also collimated to the lens element. so providing that ultra sharp, crisp images. We've got a lockdown screw, and we've got a 10:1 focuser for the fine focus. Straight away, it's very rigid. We've got the 1.25" for the 2-inch format and 1.25" format, so you've got that as well. So that's really nice to see. We've got quite a long dovetail bar. I think that's around about probably 2 centimeters. In fact, that's probably around about 20 centimeters. We're just going to measure it up. Okay, we've got 18 centimeters dovetail. It's got a single scope ring which got a clamping screw, so you can maneuver. It's actually quite rigid, even though it's a single focuser. I've noticed you have to take this out because it's obviously it's in the way of the focuser. Again, we've got a good serial number there. The serial number is the 00.91. Again, pay particular notice on the serial number. As with all serial numbers, you've got 00.91. As you can see, it should match with the SkyGuider tester, and as you can see there, we've got 91.1. Yeah, 90. We've got 91 there, which matches the serial number there, which means with Rother Valley Optics, they really are focused on the quality of the telescope. So they've serialized their products to match with the SkyGuider tests. So to me, that tells me that this product is a genuine product. All right, there's no bogus claims like a lot of retailers tend to do. Here on their products, it seems like they've done a lot of homework, they've gone to town, a lot of hard work's put into this and a lot of thought. So very lightweight construction, which is really nice to see. I do like how they've installed the Vixen dovetail, which is the smaller dovetail that you get for the finder scopes. They put 2, which is really good to see. I've not seen that. Usually most telescopes usually come with just 1, or they don't even come with any at all. So it's really nice to see that they've installed 2 Vixen, which is the smaller Vixen, the 2 smaller Vixen dovetail style finder scope attachments. So which means you could fit not just a Guidescope, you can fit a tar rod finder or a red dot finder or a finder scope. So there's 2 methods of attachment, which is really nice to see. Really impressive stuff. So already very nice compact system there, very high construction. Again, one slight flaw here is you've got to take out the actual single. You have to take out the single clamping system out and then re-angle it. However, it's actually quite robust. You've also got to do a lot of adjustment here, but the clamping system here looks really good. In fact, that's really steady, that's really robust. So yes, you do have to readjust the dovetail bar to match your mount, okay? So to enable your focus tube to gain access and all that, so you do need to readjust that by taking a few screws off there like so. Now I'm a bit miffed that there's no Allen key, so you can take out these M6 metric Allen bolts so you can readjust that dovetail. However, what you got to think of is all these extra bits here would cost you extra money. There's a few telescopes out there which don't come with a dovetail, they don't come with a dual clamping system like that. Don't forget, all this will cost extra. All right, and then some telescopes don't even come with scope rings. So please bear in mind, guys and girls, right? You're getting a full package system here. So with that setup, there is a lot of things in there. Now, one thing, I don't know what this is. It looks like, I don't know. I've no idea what it is. It looks to me, could be a form of mounting screw. I've no idea, but I've no idea what this part is. Again, please, Rother Valley Optics, please let me know what that is, because I'm not sure what that is. So it's not an adjustment as such, but it seems to be something where you can attach something on there as well. So I'm not quite sure. However, the one big thing I do like about this telescope is I'm hoping they've listened. As I've been reading up the manual, all right, so this, what we've got here is they've got the field rotator. So you've got this lock screw here, and it locks the focus tube, so you can rotate your camera independently. You just lock it in like so, and it locks it in place. But on this design, you can have the 2-inch format. Oh wow, finally, no special tools required. As you can see there, you can unscrew the 2-inch format, and with that you can install your field flattener. And if I remember right, you used to use the Allen keys. As you can see there, we're screwing on wow, look at that. That is much better, much better. Obviously we've got a spacer, because obviously different cameras have different obviously different cameras will have different air gaps. Now with this setup, I believe that this field flattener should just attach straight away onto a DSLR camera. And as you can see there, with that field flattener, okay, you can rotate the orientation of your camera sensor. This is really nice feature, and already massive improvement over the 72ED, which is a big plus. Already, I'm loving this setup already from the look of this. They really have focused on my videos, which is really good to see. So there's some massive improvements already, and very lightweight as well. So we've got a 32mm Guidescope, and again this can slot anywhere, which is really good to see. So if we put these down, okay, so it's only just, but I've just noticed the screw does collide a little bit on the scope rings clamps, which a bit annoying. I think they should make these screws just a tad longer. I believe it fits okay. In fact, yeah, it does. It just fits all right. Yeah, I can just get them on there. So you can go either that side, or you can go this side. So hold on, just bear with me, guys and girls. Yeah, it's a bit of a yeah, one side fits. You have to really fiddle around a bit, which is a bit fiddly. It is robust, so that's a good thing, because it is a robust setup. Yeah, so one side fits okay, the other side is a bit, yeah, hold on. it is a bit fiddly. So these screws need to be, you need to wind these screws out. And there we go. So yeah, it's a bit fiddly, but you can change from one side to the other side, which is a good thing as well, because also I can attach a red dot finder like so, and even with that, there's a lot of threading on there, which is good. So yes, I've noticed one thing as well. The screws on this side are a bit bigger on there, and a bit smaller. On these sides, these are a bit longer. So I don't know why these screws are a tad smaller than those ones. I have no idea. But it seems to make really nice. And a very compact system there. It's also, the telescope has an retractable dew shield, and again, a lot more stiffer than the 72, which tend to slide downwards a bit. On this one, this is a very nice, yeah, that's very solid, that's very solid. So overall, we've got a very nice compact system, and it looks very lightweight, and I'm really impressed already. Now, Rother Valley Optics say that the tube, when it's fully retracted, it's around about 270, it's around about, with the tube like this, the old tube is retracted to 240 millimeters. When it's extended, the whole telescope setup was around about 295 millimeters, which again, it's under it's actually smaller, slightly smaller than the, it's slightly smaller than the a 12-inch ruler. So again, with the field flattener, we measure it across with the field flattener. It's around about 34 millimeters, 34 centimeters. So even with the field flattener, it's 34 centimeters, which is still very compact. Very nice little setup. And according to their website, if I take this part out, if I take this red dot finder out, with the field flattener, with the finder scope, with the guide scope and the telescope setup, they quoted around about 1.95 kilograms. Now bear in mind, with this telescope package you've got here, you do get the field flattener, you do get the guide scope, you get multiple other things as well. Alright, the whole package as it stands, if you bought the telescope by itself, you don't get the field flattener, you don't get the guide scope. You do get the telescope set up, but that's around about £499. To be honest with you guys and girls, it makes sense to get the full package, because if you get a full package, £695 for the whole setup. Think about it, guys and girls, you're getting a lot more telescope with the premium optics that Zygo tested now, the whole setup for less than £700. Think about it, guys and girls, if you bought a telescope of similar quality, I can guarantee you, you don't get the Vixen dovetail, you don't get the guide scope, you don't get the field flattener. All this setup you get, you have to pay separately. If you get the package, you get it all in this nice little case. Shame that the logo isn't there on the case. That's the only bugbear I have. But overall impressions, first impressions on this telescope looks very, very promising indeed. Very, very promising. So straight away, they've looked closer from my last video on the 72ED, and already first impressions on this telescope are so much better indeed. So we're going to measure the actual package. So we've got the guide scope and the field flattener in place. We've removed the dust shield as well, and we're just going to measure the telescope. Now it's meant to be 1.95 kilogram. So at the moment what we've got is 2 kilograms and 80 grams. So 2080 grams. So slightly out, but I'm guessing it's either my scales that's not well designed or something like that, or it's, I don't know. But to be honest with you, it's still, it might be slightly over 2 kilograms. It was rated at 194, yeah, 1.94 kilograms is quoted on the website. But I'm guessing, I'm relying on really crappy scales here. But it's just to prove one thing, it's to prove that point that it's still within the 2 kilogram mark. Right, so that 2 kilogram is more than ample for this telescope. Alright, so 2 kilogram is still pretty compact. So I'm happy with that. But yeah, it does quote on the website 1.94 kilograms. So it's either my scales that's wrong, or it's not quite right. But to be honest with you, it's still 2 kilograms, and that's what I'm concerned about. So as we can see now, we'll take a closer look on the actual 32mm Guidescope, and as you can see, if you get the dual setup that's at £99, you can connect your normal fitting camera like this. You can get your Zoo camera. This is the Zoo ISI 120 MCS, and this can simply screw in without a nose piece, like so, onto the T2 thread. As you can see there, it screws in very nice. Fits flush, no flexure at all, and that's what you want. Look at that, that's sturdy as hell, that's solid. The good thing with the Guidescope, you can fit any camera with a T2 thread, or you can get your Zoo Mini, which I've got. This is the Zoo ASI 120mm Mini, and this just slips in like so. Loosen the 3 set screws, and they just slide in like so. So you can slide in your focus in and out depending on where your focus are. Alright, and you can just lock the 3 screws like so, and then there you go. So as you can see there, you've got a fixed mount in here to fix 2 types of cameras. So your guys' cameras now can now be secured with no flexure whatsoever. As you can see there, really impressed with that setup there. I'm really impressed. I mean, I love that Guidescope. I love how it matches with the 60ED. I think it's a smart little setup. So I've now got my complete setup. I've got my tile rad, and I've got my Guidescope and my DSLR camera. We're now going to measure the complete weight and see what we get. So we measure it across, and what I'm reading it at is 3,478. So it's around about 3.4 kilogram. What I would tend to do is I'll round that off to 3.5 kilogram. So 3.5 kilogram is the complete weight. Don't forget, I've added extra weight on the cooling mod on the camera. So the camera is a bit on the heavy side, but as you can see there, 3.5 kilogram is still within reach of my iOptron mount. So I'm quite safe. I'm still well under the 70% payload which is required for my iOptron mount. I am now happy that this setup will satisfy my needs. Slightly exaggerated on the website, which is 1.94 kilograms, but without the existing setup at 2 kilograms, I'm still happy. Okay, 2 kilograms on this telescope setup is still very impressive indeed. So as you can see here, I've fully kitted out the whole entire setup on the 60 ED. I've already got a wireless interferometer attachment on the camera. I've got a T-ring with the Barda T-ring, and in that I've got a filter, which is the IDAS LPS D2 filter, light pollution filter. I've got my cooling mod installed. The camera itself is also Astro modded with the Barda IR cut filter being removed. Alright, it's fully leading out. There's a lot of weight on there. Right, even with that, the lock screw can be a bit fiddly, but you can adjust this T-ring. You can adjust this Vixen dovetail, but I can still gain access at the bottom. Alright, so I might need to move the dovetail in and out. Okay, so however, it's a lot easier compared to the 72 ED. The only bugbear, alright, the focuser is, even though this is not, alright, I'm going to slacken this off, even when this is not tight, straight away, as we can see, there is no slippage whatsoever. Alright, and this is not even locked down. Alright, this lock screw is not locked down, and already there is no slippage whatsoever, and it's very smooth. Apparently the focuser can hold the weight of right about 3, maybe 4 kilograms, but already we've got the field flattener, the T-ring with the filter system, a fully leading modified Canon camera, right, and it's holding that weight easily. Right, there's no flex here. Even the rotator, we've got a nice smooth movement on the rotator, which I like also on this I like also on this telescope. I love this rotating system. Okay, really is very nice to see. All right, so fully kitted out setup we've got there. So like always, it just shows you how easy this telescope is to set up. It took me literally 5 minutes just to move the entire lot by hand. Now, it's very easy, very lightweight, and you can see with the iOptron mount, and again you can tell I've got plenty of weight. I mean, I shortened the counterweight here, but I've always put an extra double counterweight. Not really important, but usually if you want to just use one counterweight, you have to extend the bar all the way down, and I don't really like that. I like the extension bar to be nicely compact, just enough so it's not in the way of things. But as you can see, it's all balanced out very nicely, okay, on this telescope. So on the iOptron, smart iOptron mount, fantastic fitment. Even the ST4 cable, I've had to use a smaller cable, which is easier, which is not going to get entangled with the Guidescope, or the imaging setup. And it's such a joy, really, so easy to assemble the telescope. And to be honest with you, I lifted the whole telescope out of the house in a wanna with everything on there. All I need to do is just switch on the iOptron mount, set up the cooling with DSLR and the PSU, connect the Guidescope lead, and I'll be just doing a 2-star alignment after the polar alignment. Once I've done the polar alignment, and then I do the 2-star alignment, and then once I've got an object I want to image, I just set the camera, and then all I do is then set up the guiding, and I'm off on my way. It's that easy. Now, this Guidescope can act like a finder scope as well, but personally, it can be a bit fiddly sometimes.
This Guidescope is in line with the main tube, and it's already in focus with my Zoo ASI 120. So ideally I like to have it permanently fixed like that, alright, and I don't need to fiddle around, because yes, these are very good screws, but they can be very fiddly, alright, and plus getting the focus right. Once you've got the focus and you locked it in place, you're good to go. The focuser is absolutely amazing on there. I've imaged from last night, just doing the I was doing the Elephant's Trunk Nebula, and I've kept the focus as it is. So I only need to use my Bannerstuff mask just to recheck the focus, and I'm good to go. It's literally takes 5 minutes once you've got everything rigged up. I highly recommend the towel rod finder. I don't know what it is. Sometimes I find some people say you don't need a finder for this telescope because it's smaller aperture, but personally, if you want to try and find some of the stars, like if you're lining the stars, or you're trying to find, you have to star hop your way to try and find objects. Sometimes, I know the iOptron mount is not brilliant for the go-to. Sometimes it misses out just a few degrees out. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes it does. It does have a glitch. It's not the best mount in the world, but it's certainly the mount that I've been delivering 10 minutes exposure times without any hassle. I really love this mount. I know it's really old. It does have its limitations, and I know the newer ones are not that well built compared to the older ones, which I find it a bit frustrating. But again, I've just checked to see if I haven't got any backlash in the RA axis or the deck axis, which is the main problem with this mount. But I've not stripped it out, because why should I strip something out which is already working perfectly? Again, good policy is, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. That is the best policy. So when I start getting some problems with the tracking, maybe I'll start looking to stripping it out. But personally, I've been getting 5-10 minutes exposure times with the auto guiding through PhD guiding, no problems, and I've been getting reliably 10 minutes all the time. So despite a lot of people don't like these mounts, I've not had a problem with this mount, but I know the new ones have had a few bad batches. So I wish iOptron sort of like up the game and start listening to the customers, because at the end of the day, the people that's using the equipment, these astrophotographers, know what they're talking about, and these companies need to really seriously listen on people's views. Okay, so if they listen, they will help. You know, end of the day, it is constructive criticism. End of the day, these companies need to improve on their products, and that's the way it is. All right. So as you say, it is a good mount. I've knocked it. I've not had any dramas with this mount whatsoever. But apart from that, really is a simplified system, very lightweight, and I could be imaging no problems. So, guys and girls, we're just going to image, just using the 60mm ED. Perfect little setup, as you can see there. I'm trying not to put too much light on, because I'm taking the image of the California Nebula, and as you can see, where it's situated, the moon is up and Perseus is very close to the moon. It's like literally about here. So I'm imaging using the Rother Valley Optics setup, very portable setup with auto guiding as well, using PhD guiding, and we're using DSLR. And because it's a windy night, I'm having to use my so my telescope is tracking, so the mount's tracking, so I've had to load the exposure at 2 minutes. Ideally I'd love to have this nebula at 10 minutes, but it's not possible. So as you can see, it's frustrating because the wind is very strong as well, and I've had passing cloud passing every few minutes or so. So it's been an absolute nightmare. So as you can see, fantastic little setup, don't get me wrong, really is amazing. And didn't take long to set up either. PhD guiding's working acceptable. Now, because of the moon being so close, I've had to use the IDAS, which is the IDAS D2 filter. Now this D2 filter is very good at eliminating LED lighting. So it's a fantastic. So I'm using the IDAS D2 filter, and that filter is will minimize a lot of light pollution, because I do have occasional LED lights that ruin it, including this one. So hopefully it will filter some of the surrounding light. But as you can see, we're guiding reasonable, and yeah. Apart from that, I have missed the Mars I have missed the Mars landing, which is a real shame. But who cares? I'm imaging, and that's what counts. But apart from that, yeah. At this setup, I'm really impressed. It took ages to set up, so I'm really impressed with this setup. It didn't take long to set up, took about 5 minutes, and I'm literally auto guiding and taking shots. Now, as you can see here, I've been provided with a red dot finder there, and the reasons for that is I found that even just using that with PhD guiding, yeah, it gives me a field of view. You can use it as a finder, but personally I would prefer to use the TARAD, and using that TARAD will help me locate, particularly when I'm doing star alignment. So if I want to use the go-to, I can use the TARAD, I can use the red dot finder to take me to my targets and find where I need to go. So apart from that, 5 minutes to set up, auto guiding, and I'm imaging with the moon up, where Perseus with the California Nebula. And I must just say, if we take a closer look, I've just dimmed down the exposure. So what I'm going to do is I'm just trying to get it to focus, you see. So at the moment, I'm just gonna stop that exposure, and I'll show you. So as we're taking the shot, just bear with me, guys and girls. I mean, the camera's trying to adjust it properly here, so yeah, there we go. So even the wind is affecting the cameras, so it's trying to focus and it's just not. It's all over the place. Well, let me see if I can just put a bit of a base light, maybe. There we go. So yeah, so not ideal conditions. I've had passing clouds constantly, so I've had to lower the exposure as well, and it's just been a bit hectic. Really has been hectic. So it's a real shame I couldn't do the 10 minutes exposure times, which I really wanted. And because the moon's quite up, I had tried it, and it started to wash out the nebula. So I've cut it down to 2 minutes and using ISO 800, and it should, hopefully the camera focus in there properly, and we should have a decent shot. So yeah, capture as much light frames as possible. The weather's not going to hold though, because there is an incoming cloud patch coming our way, and it's not looking good. So as long as I get a few exposures, it's better than nothing, I suppose. And despite missing the Mars landing, that sort of peed me off a bit, because it landed at 20:55 it landed, but I missed it because I was too busy imaging and setting the telescope. So here we go. So obviously he's got it. I've definitely got it. So let me just cancel out of that, and I'm just going to show you now. So I'm just going to show you. Right, as we can see, I'll just yeah, we've got it there. We just got it on my camera, and you get to see it. There you go. It's there, and as you can see there, we've got the whole band in there. Yeah, we definitely got it. So now you're seeing it. That IDAS light pollution, that D2 filter, is really amazing. And 2 minutes exposure time at ISO 800, and I've got that detail already. And don't forget, I am using a modified camera as well, so I'm using a modified camera, which also helps as well. But I've already got the nebulosity there, despite the moon, which is so close to Perseus. It's unbelievable. But it just shows you that filter is an amazing piece of kit. So yeah, fantastic results. And anyway, we'll cut to the chase, because I need to start collecting more light frames before that cloud comes in, and we don't want that. So here we go. Let's start capturing those frames, and let's crack on, because I don't want to miss out any more data. So I need to capture as much data as I can. So yeah, really impressive results so far, and what can I say, fantastic results. So hopefully, don't know how long this is going to last, but so far it's looking really impressive. So despite the moon being up there, so close to Perseus, we're getting the awesome results. So hopefully we should get some good amount of data there, despite the short exposures and the lower ISO as well. So there you go. Wish me luck, guys and girls, and see what results we get.
Well, guys and girls, what do you reckon? Absolutely fantastic. Really, it's just those images out of this world. Really, really impressive stuff. I've never... those images are absolutely ultra sharp, crisp, no false colouring, and that FPL 53 glass they're using from Rother Valley Optics, it really is amazing. 9.8 stressful ratio is not to be sniffed out. This is really impressive stuff. No false colouring at all. From a doublet ED refractor is a big deal. And the good thing with ED refractors is you'll gain a lot more light that passes through that lens system more than a multiple system. So the f6 ratio, it really is a fast little scope at 360mm. This telescope is such a joy to use, really is, because it's lightweight. I can take this everywhere, no matter where I go. I can carry the whole lot. I can carry the mount, everything, and I'm out imaging. All I do is connect my guide system software and I'm off. I do like the nice touches. The focus is amazing. The optics are outstanding. I like the Guidescope system. Yes, there is a minor glitch with some of the screws on the scope rings on the finder scope that does touch the clamping screw system. It does get in the way, but it's not annoying. All right, it is fiddly, but once it's set, it is set. That is it. There's no messing about. You literally clamp the whole setup and off your way. It really is so quick. Because it's so quick, easy setup, you end up using this telescope more. Not only for observing, it can be a great little observing scope. All right, especially if you're traveling around and you like to go to remote places everywhere in different parts of countries and all that. This travel scope setup for imaging, it really is a joy. So you can use it for observing, but mainly for imaging. The imaging side is absolutely crisp. Combine it with the DSLR camera, you've got a very nice setup there for astrophotography. Really is a joy. I like the dual setup where you can have another finder scope or with a red dot finder or something like that. You know, there's loads of nice touches on this scope with the superb optics. Really is outstanding. Yes, I could do with the box being slightly jazzed up a bit. I was a bit disappointed with the box, but it's not a massive drama. The box is okay. There is mild sort of twitches. You have to disconnect the guide scope, and you do need to fiddle around with the single scope ring to fit it in there, which can be a bit of an annoyance. I totally get with you guys and girls, but it's not that bad. All right, it really isn't that bad, and it is quite easy to just fiddle it around. However, the box is compact, you can travel it around, not a drama. What I would like to see in the box is additional space, the space that you can at least have a DSLR camera so that you can put it in that box in that certain way, so that you can have a whole setup like that as well. Would like to see that. However, what that does is it will make the box a little bit bigger. But Rother Valley Optics do have alternatives where you can have cases where you can pluck foam and you can store it like that way. So the box is not a real concern. It is actually a lot better than the 72ED with that box feature. You can't put the Guidescope with the 72. With this system, you can. You can put your Guidescope in there with your guide camera, everything else, except for the DSLR, which is a bit of a real shame, but you can assemble all that in that box, which is a nice improvement. I do like how they've improved. They listened to my video, and as I've highlighted with the tools, which is the annoyance thing about it, there's hardly no tools required for this, other than you may need to adjust the Vixen dovetail setup to get the balancing right on your mount. Again, it depends on your mount, how it is, but you may need to tweak it a little bit. But again, what I'm trying to say to you guys and girls, doesn't matter what telescope you buy, you're always going to have some methods of tweaking to get it right, to get your setup right. All right, you can buy the best, most expensive telescope you can imagine, and there's always going to be something that you need to do to get your setup just right. It's the way it is with astronomy. It's one of those things, I'm afraid. However, all the improvements are there. I'll be honest with you guys and girls, all the improvements are there. I was a bit miffed about the single cradle format. However, it is very rigid, all right, and I've had no flexure problems. I've been tracking with this iOptron mount. This iOptron mount is perfect setup for this, all right. With all this weight I've weighed up to now, that mount has never missed a beat, and it really is. I mean, this mount is only capable of a payload of 5 kilograms at the most. With this setup, which is slightly over 3 kilograms, it's not straining the mount, and the mount tracks, and I can get 10 minutes exposure times, not a problem with this setup. The only thing I would say, and I keep saying this to Rother Valley Optics, the team itself, I keep saying to them, after I was imaging the North American Nebula, I can only just get a bit of the Pelican. Now, I'm saying this now, guys, right? Listen up. Team, look it up. This telescope can really, really benefit from the 0.8 times focal reducer. If I had that 0.8 times focal reducer, I maybe be able to get not just the North American Nebula, but I can also get the Pelican Nebula as well. In fact, that would be really impressive stuff. So with that 0.8 times focal reducer, lowering it down to even to a 270, maybe 280 millimeter lens, will make a massive difference in the field of view, and that focal reducer will make it an ideal companion, particularly if you made the setup for this telescope with the 0.8 times focal reducer, with that unique feature where you can unlock the rotatable and just readjust your camera orientation. All right, that would be perfect. And again, an additional cost, yes, I totally agree, it may cost a little bit extra for that attachment, but if the 0.8 times focal reducer also had the field flattening effect, I reckon that this scope will be perfect for wide field. It's great anyway for wide field anyway, but there is just certain targets you get in the deep sky world, that some of the bigger targets, that are much fainter, but they are huge, could really benefit for that 0.8 times focal reducer. And that is something that Rother Valley Optics, the team itself, should really consider looking into that for their product range, their horizons. Now, bear in mind, think about the cost, think about the whole setup itself. You can't get very much of this quality of telescope, because think about all the additional stuff. Don't forget, the Guidescope is a high quality Guidescope. The focuser, all the extra little bits you get with this telescope package. Think about it, guys and girls, there's a lot to this scope, and the optics proves it, and the quality proves it big time. And to be honest with you, I really, really enjoyed this telescope so much. I'll be honest with you guys and girls, I've had this telescope for a year, hence the reason over the past few months I've been collecting that data, processing the images, and wow, every image has been brilliant. And sometimes that focus has been that good on this setup. On some nights where I've imaged, I'm not even touching the focuser. I've had that focus straight away. As soon as I've locked it in place, that focus hasn't budged. And it's such a joy to use. You take those light frames, you take the dark frames, you take the flat frames, you still got to do all that procedure. But with that compact setup, it makes astrophotography such a joy to use. And I'm set up, I'm guiding, and I'm astro imaging, and it's like 5 minutes. Bang, straight away, because that compact system there, I'm getting great wide field shots of deep sky objects, and I'm not disappointed with this telescope, not one bit. I would, now with this setup, would I recommend this telescope? Yes, I would, definitely yes, with a 5-star rating as well. I like to back it up because I'm that impressed with this telescope. Even though this was loaned to me, I phoned Adam and I said to him, well, Adam, I'm buying this telescope. So I've bought it. That's how impressed I am. The 72, they are going to focus on further improving that particular model as well. But the 60 has really ticked all the boxes for me. And that's why I bought it, because I thought, well, even though it's loaned to me, the setup times, the unique features has made, I've captured more data through this telescope compared to what I've done in my observatory with the bigger setups. This thing, once I got PhD guiding and I got the DSLR camera, I'm away. It's literally bang, no need to worry about nothing. And I'm getting wide field shots, 10 minutes exposure, ISO 800, perfect combination. It's such a joy to use with this setup. Well, again, there'll be further more improvements. However, I will give you a little bit of secret as well, that Rother Valley Optics are introducing some newer products coming our way. So please look out for that, because there are many more new stuff coming out. I know this has been for a good year as well, but I'm so impressed with this telescope. I love it, absolutely love it, and it is such a joy to use. And the price you pay, think about it, guys and girls, you're looking at 0.95 minimum stress-to ratio. Minimum stress-to ratio is a high figure. 0.95 is almost Takahashi level type telescopes. The optical glass and that unique quality feature, that 0.95 is the minimum standard requirement for all Rother Valley Optics Horizon telescopes. And looking at those images, yes, my post-processing is a little bit ropey. I tend to oversaturate stuff because I do like the deep colours, but looking at the natural stacked ones, you can tell straight away, even looking at the California Nebula, there is hardly any false colouring on those stars. All right, it really does show the optical quality we're dealing with here. And 0.98 stressor it's bang on, guys and girls. It really is bang on. And I'm really considering about sending my telescope, my triplet refractor that I've got, the telescope service one I've got, that 115mm, I think it's worth noting down, guys and girls, that we've got a Zygo testing facility, and Rother Valley Optics being the only ones that are certified. They've gone through a lot of hard work and devotion. They've had a lot of specialist technicians come out to assess the place. They have done a lot of work and they've passed and they've got the authority. So now they are certified. At the moment with refractors, high-end refractors, they will color me, they will Zygo test even achromat refractors. They are starting to look at the Schmidt, Cassegrain and the Maxitov, which is really good to know. considering I've got a Mac 180. All right, so they probably may be able to adjust the optics there. But again, please guys and girls, if you're a bit worried about your telescope not performing, give them a call and they'll help you out, guys and girls. They'll give you a test report. Don't forget, these iGo test certs cost a lot of money. It does take a lot of time. There's a lot of work involved. How they do it, don't ask me how they do it, because I'm not an expert in that field. But those guys, they've got the proper facilities, they've got a proper dry room, everything. It really is the business in that setup. And please, send your telescope out, see how it performs. They will collimate it and you'll get the very best. But again, don't expect, if you've got a low end sort of refractor, don't expect to see 0.95 thresholds, because that really does depend on the optical quality, the glass itself, how well it's grounded or highly polished. There's a lot of work involved with that, and usually they will collimate it and they'll clean it, but that's all they'll do, and they'll use that machine to adjust the collimation to get the best figure value they can possibly can. And it does take a considerable amount of time to set that up and balance. But don't forget, refractors are a very specialist setup. Just because there are pieces of glass in a tube, a lot of the imaging telescopes, refractors in particular, have different adjustment setup segments, and those lenses have to be aligned perfectly to bend that light, and with that light being bended correctly to reduce the false colouring. And maybe just sending your telescope out there to Rother Valley Optics, be able to readjust it as best they can so that you get the very best. Bear in mind, acromats will always have false colouring, so if you have an acromat, then yeah, they can zygo test it and they can adjust it to minimise the false colouring. But on the acromat, you will always get that false colouring no matter what. No matter what. In particular, EDs and triplet refractors are a different kind of beasts. Again, they may have slight false colouring or none at all. But again, it's worth pointing out that sending it out to a zygo testing facility, to Rother Valley Optics, they were able to adjust that perfectly for you, and you'll get the very best performance out of your telescope. Bear in mind, guys and girls, zygo testing, there is only one or two places that I know that are usually you have to send it over to Germany and somewhere else as well. To send for zygo testing, usually you've got to send it to a specialist optical. You have to send it to an optical specialist, particularly in Germany. I think it's APM has a zygo testing, which means, think about it, guys and girls, if you live local in UK, you won't have the tax charges, import charges to be sent. So think about that, guys and girls. So if you've got high-end refractor, send it to Rother Valley Optics. They've got the zygo testing facility. It'll save you a lot more money than sending something out to Europe, because believe me, the import tax and where things are going are a lot more expensive. So again, check them out. The website's featured in there. Read up on there. There's a lot of information what they do on the work they carry out, and you do get a 2-page report, which does help. It does build a confidence in your setup, okay? Because again, I'm really considering about sending my telescope service triplet refractor, my flagship, over to Rother Valley Optics and see what performance that would be very interesting to see how that triplet will compare against the 60 ED Horizon. And to be honest with you, guys and girls, this comes very, very close to my triplet, and I'm not just saying this, all right. I own quite a lot of equipment, and you do get used to some optical setups are better than others, but this is an ED doublet, and it's on par with my triplet. And I'm saying it, I'm not just saying this, it's literally, this setup is on par with my triplet. And that is very impressive. So please, if you like watching my video, please hit the like button. And again, if you're new to this channel, please subscribe onto my channel. And subscribing to the channel, also share this video out. Again, share this video out. Maybe share with this product review may help some people get excited with this. If you like what you see, this would be an ideal, awesome little setup for Christmas. All right, definitely, I love it to bits. I bought it. That's how good it is. I really loved it. The 72 was okay, but the 60, despite the smaller aperture, but the wide field you get from deep sky objects is so much better. I think it's such a superb little scope. I mean, I've got a 66 ED. I can't name the brand. However, this will blow the 66mm ED out of the water, literally. With the 66 ED I've got elsewhere, has slight false colouring in the green region. So no matter when I'm imaging wide field, I still get a hint of green. With this telescope, the Horizon 60 ED, there's none of that. Absolutely none of that. I don't even need to process it out using Photoshop. This is what I'm trying to say to you guys and girls. The setup makes it easier, makes it much more enjoyable. It's such a nice feature. So again, please share this video out. Share. There'll be a few people might be interested in this product. I'm so happy with it. It really is. And again, please hit the bell. By hitting the notifications bell, will keep you notified for new videos coming out soon from MP Astro. And believe me, I got a lot of new projects and reviews coming very, very soon for you guys and girls. So watch this space. So again, 5-star rating. I'm so impressed with the telescope. I bought it. This is now mine. I love it to bits. Really is an awesome little package. Slight niggles, but they're not massive. They're not massive issues. So again, really is a superb little setup without a doubt. And would I recommend it? Yes, I would, guys and girls. If you want wide field deep sky objects, or for that matter for casual observing, this telescope offers very sharp optics, superb images. What more can I say, guys and girls? So again, I rate it 5 stars without question. Superb setup without a doubt. So again, if you like what you see, please hit the like button. And again, thanks for watching, and I wish you all clear skies.